Hello and welcome to the DC Stewart Show podcast. I'm your host, Derek Stewart, along with my kinfolk, Isaiah. And you know what? It is a Saturday, November 15th, 2025. And it is a college game day. We're in week 12, fam. And I tell you what, it's getting more exciting and intriguing as the weeks go by. Little by little, everything is beginning to fall in place with this college football playoff bracket because at the end of the day, the top 12 teams are going to be the teams that's going to be vying to get to the national championship and to play for that trophy, which is that vaunted trophy, which is a college football national championship trophy, which so many people, you know, like Nick Saban and a lot of other legends like Bear Bryant and all of these other legendary coaches, they all aspire to get there to do that. And guess what, fam? We got Freebird Tony with us today. And you know what? I've been so happy he finally came on with us. I love me some Freebird Tony. And guess what? We're going to introduce Freebird Tony right now and give him a round of applause. Absolutely. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, guys. You're much too kind.
Absolutely. And that's all well and you know, it's all well said, by the way. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, because at the end of the day, we're currently streaming on Facebook. We're currently streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming on Instagram. And we got a lot to talk about today, and we want you involved. Please participate. And Tony's list is going to be very intriguing, so we would love everybody's input on that. And we'll talk about some of the topics after I unpack and I introduce Isaiah. He's looking quite sharp, quite dapper there with the shirt and the hat. Tell us a little bit about your day today.
Oh man, I hung out with my handsome dad and my brother, man, and it's nothing better, bro. Really, I'm telling you, it's nothing better than that, to be able to go out there and give your dad a hug and some dap and stuff, and how you doing, and enjoy the moments, because they're older, and then my brother is over there. We help do little things around his house, and then we left them and say, okay, we'll see you in a couple of days. But man, football is what is going down, man. My Canes took care of business, and I'm telling you, these guys went out there and handled business. They did what I've been freaking going off about. They game tackling, they getting down the field blocking, they're pressuring that quarterback. And listen, man, it was so delightful to watch that game today. And then, of course, the Gators playing, and all my teams that I really like to watch. But my Kings is number one. I'm a 305 guy, and boy, they played their rear ends off, and I enjoyed it. Yes. Let's go, you. Yes,
we have quite a group on with us today. I'd like to, you know, send some shouts out and some welcomes here. Juan Escobar. Hi, Juan. Kareem Fassel. Hi, Kareem. Nathan Arquiza. Welcome aboard. I mean, we're so happy to have you guys aboard, because we're going to have a very good show today, and we would like for everybody, like I said, to participate, and we'll go from there. I had a good day today. It rained in Southern California, so it wasn't much I could do today. I mean, it was just one of them days where we had a storm come through Southern California, and the weather has been really bad for the last day or so. And hopefully it'll clear up tomorrow, and then on into next week, we'll get some clear weather, because we've always had good weather here. It never rains in Southern California until now. And, you know, we weren't able to get a lot done outdoors today, but guess what? We're doing some things indoors right now.
DC, I was telling my brother about that, and guess what he told me? And you know he went to college out there, man. He said it rained one time.
Yeah, I think he went to Taft in Bakersfield. He was in Central California in Bakersfield.
Being out there for several years, it rained one time. Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
So you experienced that today.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and introduce you to a person that's special to this show. Freebird Tony joined us when we first started. I mean, he jumped aboard, and he's been part of this family ever since we pretty much got off to a good start. And we couldn't have done it without Freebird Tony, because Freebird Tony grew up in Miami. He spent his high school years in Miami. He went to Carl Park High School, and I'll let him, tell you a little bit more about his background. But he's a big University of Miami fan, so that fell right in
Yeah.
line for
The
Isaiah
right
and
track,
myself.
baby.
He's been
Yeah.
following the U for a long time.
Yeah.
He follows the Dolphins, and we just got so much in common with Tony, and we're glad Tony's got things in common with us, because that's what this is about, folks. I mean, living
The
in the
family,
United
man.
States of America, the best free country in the world. I've been in a lot of different countries. There is no place like the United States of America. I would like to say happy birthday to the U.S. Marines, 250 years of excellent, outstanding service to this country and fighting for freedom, because the reason we can be free here is because of our men and women in our armed forces. And Tony is a veteran himself. So he's going to tell you a little bit about himself. Tony, I'm going to go ahead and bring you in and just tell us a little bit about your background. And, we're going to talk a little bit about football today, and we're going to go into some deep dives into some of the games. So welcome aboard, Tony, by the way.
Hey, thank you, gentlemen. I am originally from New York City. When I was 13, our family moved to Florida. First to Tampa, actually. This would have been
Beautiful
1975.
city.
And excuse me?
I said, that's a beautiful
Oh,
city,
it's a lovely
Tampa.
city, Tampa.
Yeah. Like to
Yeah.
hang out down there
So
in
this was
Tampa.
in 1975. And my dad and actually all of us really didn't like it. Well, coming from New York City to Tampa in 1975, it was a culture shock.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided, let's go to Miami. And then we went to Miami, and the rest is history. I was there for almost 40 years until
Wow.
I
Yeah.
moved out to Southern California 11 years ago to
Yeah.
Oceanside, which is a northernmost coastal city in San Diego County. It's adjacent to Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here mainly because of the climate. Um, those hot, humid days in Miami really got to me. I'm 63 already, and yeah, it's like out here it just feels really good, like 80%
Year
of the
round, pretty
time,
much, right?
except for today, of
Especially
course.
this
Except
past
for
couple of
today.
weeks has been great.
Yeah, yeah,
So that one of the reasons I moved out
yes.
here was for climate
And
as well,
well,
Tony.
I'm a big Kate. Yeah, of course, absolutely. Um, I'm a big Canes fan. Love the Canes. Started following them as a youngster. What really piqued my interest was when Nick Saban came. That would have been, let's say, 76, 77, something like that. And then Howard Schnellenberger in 79, I believe, came
I
in.
think Snellenberger
And he
did
had
come
Jim
aboard
Kelly,
79. Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
And
I think they won
hey,
a
the rest
national
is
championship
history
the
from
year
there.
after
I
that.
mean, the
Yeah.
80s,
Hmm.
yeah, that stretch from 83 to 91, 8 seasons, they picked up 4 national championships and really had a shot at 5. That Penn State game, I think, was it
Hmm.
Fiesta Bowl? Yeah, the fatigues and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, how can I
Yeah.
forget that national
Yeah.
championship team? They had so much talent on that team as well, right?
I
Yeah.
know, I know. Yes, yes. And I'm a big Michael Irvin fan. Love
Yeah,
Michael, the
I love him too,
playmaker.
man. He's just always animated and energetic.
Yeah,
Man, is amazing how he get around and how he
and I
hype
love
up the
what.
young kids. Yeah,
There you go. That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, I love that about him. Yeah, and I dropping my earbuds here.
Oh, no
we
worries.
can
Sorry
Take
hear
your
about
you.
that.
time.
Keep going.
Okay.
We
Now
can hear
the
you.
Dolphins. The Dolphins now. Um, growing up in New York, I I kind of like followed the Giants a lot too. So I was kind of I had like two teams. My NFC team, of course, was the Giants, and then AFC team, the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't followed the pro game now in a few years. I've been really turned off by it. I've always been a college fan, and I always loved the college game much more than the pro game. And I don't know, I just found myself, it's not like it went like it turned off a switch. It's just kind of like gradually just started kind of like losing interest. Um, although I'll watch the Dolphins, um, but it's for me, it's college. I just love college
Yeah.
Absolutely.
football. Love everything about it.
Yeah, college got that dynamic where you got these hungry kids that's out there busting their rear ends to get a job and get a future and fulfill a dream. When you're talking about professional football, they have already made it. And some of those guys will say, damn it, I made it, and here I am. I don't have to do as much as I used to. So it kind of take away the fabric of the game when you do that. So, and there's a lot of them that does it too. I mean, especially when they vie for this big payday and they finally get this big payday and they say, "Oh shoot, I don't have to work hard no more. I don't have to run this route as hard as I used to." And then you got a linebacker say, "Man, I ain't gonna run my head up in there like I used to. I'm paid
Exactly.
now." So
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
college is not like that. These guys go all out.
Yep.
And if they don't put out, that means they just don't have it. Because
That's so true.
they
You know,
surely want to,
True. Yeah.
upgrade their family and their life and their, grandparents. And it's just amazing how these guys, they go over and beyond when you're in collegiate sports because you're really trying to
Yeah.
make a career out of that football game. Yeah.
and it's the intensity level in college as well. To me, college, it just sticks to me more than the pro level because these young kids, just like Isaiah and Tony just expressed it, they play hard. I mean, we've been to these live football games and we watch them and we watch how serious they are and how serious they take their, jobs in terms of their positions and playing the game itself. There is nothing like college football to be at a live game to be able to see these kids play their hearts out because a lot of times you
Mhm.
see them and they leave it all out there on the field, and that's what we like to see. In the NFL, they
Yeah.
don't always do that. I mean, you got a bunch of prima donnas
Big
sometimes, and
babies.
they
Yeah.
tend to take it for granted and say, "Look, I got my money. I don't need to take anything off the coaches. I don't need to do my job." And you're not going to see the effort or the entertainment level that you will see with the college football game. So, Tony, I totally agree with you about that. So, tell us a little bit about your high school. I know you mentioned Carl Park High School.
Yeah. I went to Carl Park. Um, let's see. 1977, 78, and halfway through my 78, 79 year, I was asked to leave the school, and my father put me in a private school, and
Mm-hmm.
that was Dearborn. That was in Coral Gables. They didn't have football, but they had basketball, and they had a pretty good team. It was I don't remember if it was a 1A school or a 2A school, one of those two. And they would go to state a lot, I remember, but never win it for some reason. Um,
Well, it's like
I
Buffalo
But
was,
Bills,
they ended
I
up
was,
there.
It's just like
yeah,
Buffalo
I
Bills.
was, yeah. And then I remember when I got to the school, the coach wanted me to play. I didn't want to play. I really didn't want to play. Um, and but he just kept pushing me. He kept pushing me. He kept pushing me. So I went to one practice. The next day, we had a smoking section at the school, and I'm smoking a cigarette. And he sees me and he says, "You're off the team." And I said, "You know what? I didn't want to be on a team in the first place."
Well, if you'd have
And
known that was the case, you could
yeah,
have smoked earlier,
so
huh?
Absolutely.
so but I had a great time at that school, by the way. When I graduated, just a few months later, I went into the Marine Corps. I had enlisted like a year before, like my senior year. I had already enlisted. I already knew that I was going into the Marine Corps,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I didn't even take an SAT. I didn't want to go to college. I just wasn't for me, and I said I'm just gonna be a jarhead for a few years and come back home. My father had a dry cleaning business, um, so I worked in that pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
Um, when he passed away in '97, a couple of years later, my sisters and I sold the business and the property and all that. And then I went on to do a few other things. One of those things was I was a tour guide in the Everglades. I drove an airboat.
Oh,
Now
wow.
that was a fun job, except, yeah. Now the winters were great. Now the summers were brutal, let me tell you.
Really hot.
But I
Yeah.
had a good time. I had a good time. Yeah, I had a good time doing that. Yeah.
I guess you met a lot of interesting people because folks from all over the world come down here to get on those boats and
Yes.
go out in the Everglades because they read so much about it and they figured it's fun.
Yes.
So they would always go out there on those airboats because they was fascinated
You're
with the
absolutely
snakes and the
right.
alligators that they'll see that's
And
out
the
there.
alligators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was tired of seeing alligators.
I bet you
Yeah, I
were.
tell you one thing, you see a lot of them, and some of them are really small because just hatch, and then you see some of the biggest ones imaginable. Yeah,
They tend
Yeah.
to stick
Now,
out more at night
usually,
because their eyes light up at night, so
right.
you
Their
can
eyes
spot
glow.
them a
yeah,
lot
Yeah,
and
faster than
yeah,
you
their
can in the
eyes glow.
daytime.
Yeah, yep,
and
Because
they're nocturnal.
those animals are assassins, man. They lay low and they
Yeah.
watch their
hmm
prey, and they
yeah,
just they're very patient when it comes to
Yeah.
waiting for the right time to catch
hmm
the prey and to take it into the water, or the prey is already in the water. They just grab you and take you
Yeah.
down to the bottom, spin you over, and that's it. It's history, right?
yeah, hmm
Yeah. I've seen some
yeah,
pretty nice kills.
I
yeah.
bet. I can
I
only
saw
imagine.
one. I saw one catch a tarpon in a canal. Big guy. See, because when you see, let's say you see a bunch of gators, right?
Hmm.
Um, they're all going to be females because the dominant male, the bull gator, he has a territory of about, I don't know, 1.5, 2.5 square miles, something like that.
Hmm.
And in that area, there cannot be another male. If a male comes in, he's going to run him out. Um, so he basically has a harem. And come March every year, he goes to town.
Yeah. You see that water out there vibrating, you know what is going on, huh?
Yeah. And that's what they do. It's amazing. They will actually swim next to the female and then lower their body just a little and start vibrating. And it's like a fountain
Yeah,
of water just
it
spraying
shimmers.
up and
Yeah,
down. And
yeah,
and and it impresses the female,
yeah.
and there they go.
Wow.
Sorry
Absolutely.
about running off about gators.
No, but
Hey, no
that's
worries, man.
good
It was kind
informative
of
stuff.
very interesting that you
Yeah.
worked in the Everglades, because I mean, you're the first person I actually met that worked in the Everglades and was able to see that, natural habitat out there, because it's so special. It's the swamplands and all that stuff out there,
Yeah,
and all those exotic animals that live out there. It's a very special place on Earth, I think, personally.
it is. It
So
is that some of the habitat that's out there, the beautiful birds and stuff like that. You won't see that in other places
Oh
of the
yeah.
world. Some of it, yeah.
And the
The
Everglades is
only
the
thing
only
I've never seen out
ecosystem.
there,
There's
Tony, have you ever seen the Black Panthers? Because they always advertise that Black Panther if you go down
yeah.
anywhere near
No.
75. But I've never seen a Black Panther
Right.
out there. Have you?
Neither have I. Now I have seen in the wild
The
3
cougar?
Florida Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The brown ones.
but no Black Panther. No.
yeah, they
Yeah,
say the
you've
Black
seen the.
Panthers, you would
Yeah,
very
exactly.
rarely ever spot one of those. I mean, you'd be super lucky to see one
Got one. Hmm.
because they always either in a
But I've
tree, they
heard.
hang out in the trees, or they lay low in
Yeah,
territories that most
yeah,
humans don't even come through to see them, right?
yeah.
Well, they
And
got
now
signs
in
all up and down that
Arizona,
area.
they've got yeah. In
Absolutely.
Arizona, they got jag
The
jaguars
jaguars.
coming
Oh,
in from Mexico. Yeah,
Hmm.
and there's
mm.
one that's been there for the longest time, roaming around in Arizona, the southern part, and it took home to it. It's pretty interesting. It's like the only jaguar in the U.S.
Right.
I read that a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. So yeah, well, thanks Tony for the introduction, man. We really we're really,
Sure.
like I say, we're ecstatic about having you on for sure. And you
Thank you.
know,
I'm honored. I'm honored.
absolutely. So we'll get into these topics. Let's kick down some of the topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the recap of the University of Miami game today. They were very impressive. They jumped out front. They dominated NC State from start to finish. I was hoping for a shutout, but they didn't quite get a shutout, but they did everything else they needed to do to win that game. So we're going to dive deep. I want to get Tony's takeaways from that. I want to get Isaiah's takeaways from that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the college scores today, because I'm just shocked with some of the games that happened today, because it's really shaping itself up. But we will talk about some of the other scores and highlights that went down today. One thing I want to do is send our condolences to Kenny Easley, safety, who passed away on Friday, which is
Hmm.
yesterday, and he was
Yeah.
66
Oh,
years old. Hell of a
Yeah.
player. I remember when
mm,
Kenny Easley
Yeah.
was playing
yeah.
at UCLA.
Definitely. Yeah.
He's one of the most legendary safeties, because he was the type
Yeah.
of safety a
He could
lot like
clock it,
Ronnie
man.
Lott. Easily would
Yeah.
lay a blow on
Hmm.
the average. I mean, any type of receiver or running back. And he ended up getting drafted with the Seattle Seahawks. He played up in
Seahawks. Yeah.
Seattle, I think, a majority of his career, if I'm not
Yeah. I
mistaken.
don't know
Number
him playing
45,
anywhere
I
else
think
but
he
the
wore.
Seahawks.
Yeah, I can't remember him on any other
Yeah.
teams, right?
Yeah. Right.
No,
I've
no.
never seen him play for anybody but the Seahawks.
Those few times that he came to Miami back down in the 80s when they had Chuck Knox. The Seattle Seahawks had the coach Chuck Knox.
Hmm.
They ended up
Hmm.
beating the Dolphins a few times, which I was, shocked to see.
I was, yeah, I was at the game, 1983, Marino's rookie year.
Hmm.
It was raining, and the Seahawks came in and beat the Dolphins. They went
I
on
remember
to
that
get
game.
their Yeah, they went on to get their butts kicked by the Raiders the following week. But I remember that game. Yeah, but then the following season in '84, they beat the Seahawks
Right.
in the playoffs.
Right. I remember
Yeah,
that too. Um, well, the Raiders were the Seahawks kryptonite, as well as a whole bunch of other teams in the NFL. The Raiders were just one of these type of teams back then. They were a wrecking crew of guys,
Yeah.
different types of guys from different teams. And,
yep,
some of them were drafted, some of them were picked up from other teams, and they were kind of looked at as kind of a misfit type of player, personalities in terms of some of the players that came in there, Lyle Alzado, and you look at some of the other ones. And then you had Ted Hendricks, who was the stork. He was
Yeah.
legendary. And Ted
He was
Hendricks
from.
played
He
his
was
whole
right out
yeah,
of
entire
high
career
school.
a Miami Hurricane.
and he's a
Yeah.
Miami Hurricane as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So once again, Ken Easley, we really gonna miss him. I mean, he was such a great player, and I hate to hear certain players pass away, but
Yeah.
he's going to be in a piece.
66, you said, right?
I believe he was
Yes.
66.
66.
Yes.
I thought it was older than that.
Yeah, I believe it said he was 66. I'll go ahead and verify that for sure.
That's
When I
sad.
was looking at some of the social media today
Oh,
about him.
by the way, guys, if I may interrupt real quick, have you all heard about what Bernie Kosar's been going?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
Bernie
we seen it the
Kosar
other
up
day.
next.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
looked like he's in
Yeah.
some horrible condition.
Yeah, he's not doing well
Yes.
at all.
So sad. No. And he's scheduled for a liver transplant, I believe,
Yes.
soon.
Yes. Yeah, he's waiting on a liver transplant, and hopefully that's going to, be able to cure him to a point where he can live a normal life again, because he's lost so much weight.
Yeah.
He doesn't even look like that
I
curly head
know.
kid that used to play quarterback for
No.
Miami that wore number 20.
No,
They helped them win their first
No.
national championship. Out of Boardman,
Yeah.
Ohio. He was an Ohio kid, just like
Mhm.
Jay Brophy, one of my favorite linebackers of all
Yeah.
time at Miami, along with Ray Lewis and
Right.
all of them. But Jay
Jay
Brophy
Brophy.
was out of Ohio. A lot of those Glenn Dennison, those guys came from up north in the Midwest part of the country
Midwest, yeah.
at that time. They would always go
Yeah.
out and get a few good players from other regions of the country and bring them in, and they would do nothing but
Yes,
flourish
they would. Yes.
at the University of
Mhm.
Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bernie Kosar, we're praying for you, brother. We hope you get better, and
Yes.
we want to see you back to a normal life, because I'm just so happy that you helped us win that first national championship. You went on to the Cleveland Browns, and you were able to parlay your career into a really prosperous career when you played quarterback for the Browns back in the 80s as well.
That's true.
One, congratulations to Shohei Ohtani, our home run guy here, the Japanese player for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He ended up winning MVP for a second year in a row, and I'm really proud of him that he won MVP. And, like I said, congrats. I mean, because there's many more years to come that you'll be in the running for an MVP award and a home run hitting award as well. So... And last but not least, for a topic, we're going to be going over Tony's top 10 Heisman running backs of all time. These are GOATs. These are guys that Tony put a list together, and I think his list is awesome myself. And we want everybody else to be able to chime in and let us know what you think about his list. I know Tony was telling me that 1 to 5 was fairly easy for him, and then 6 to 10 was a more challenging, thing to put that list together.
I actually switched up 8, 9, and 10. But
Okay.
I'll get to that as we go along.
You know what, Tony? My list, I did a list as well, but I did my list according to the top 10. Not in order, though. The top 10 I thought should be on that list for mine, but not in the order of who was the best of those Heisman Trophy running backs.
Okay.
But I read mine
glad
off
you brought that
as
up.
you put. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had mentioned to DC long time ago that I think rankings like top 10 lists or top 25, whatever, are subjective. They're all subjective.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are.
So
Yeah.
I like to do like what Isaiah said, and that is, you want 10? I'll give you 10. Place them in any order you want.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what I did.
But these top five, I think are pretty solid here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get this party started, and let's start out with the recap of the Miami game. I'm going to start with you, Isaiah, and tell us a little bit what you thought Miami did today to take full control of this game. It looked like the offense was clicking on some serious cylinders, as well as the defense. The defense really impressed me today. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
The pick
Well,
six, I was jumping up
yeah.
and down in my living room. I was
Hmm.
about to go crazy because I was
Hmm.
so happy
I
to see
know.
that defense step in and score. I haven't seen that in a little while. So tell us,
Yeah.
Isaiah, what do you think about that one?
It was a simply amazing game. I just love the play calling, and I just felt like they needed this win. They needed this win. The offense was encouraging the defense. The defense was encouraging the offense, and that pick six was amazing, man. I had no clue that he was so fast, man. When he broke on that ball, DC, he was at full speed. You know, I think one thing that they did a superb job on today is reading that quarterback's eyes. That quarterback almost like advertised every throw he made, during the course of the game. But Malachi Tony, man, that guy is super, super talented. Man, he can do everything great. I mean, he quarterbacked the ball. He missed one ball where they did some trick flea flicker type play where he was in the shotgun and he overthrew the receiver. He just couldn't believe how open that receiver was, so he
I know.
overthrew him. But just to see them be able to open up their package of plays like they did today, they was able to just be free with it. It was nothing where they was pressured to call a certain play. They just actually had the whole arsenal of plays thrown at South Carolina State, but
Or
and
North
that's what they
Carolina
needed.
State. Yeah,
North
NC
Carolina
State.
State,
Yeah.
correction, excuse me.
Hmm.
But anyway, I liked it because it's going to prove, when they play Pitt, they need that type of stuff when they play Pitt. Pitt is aggressive defense. They need to keep these guys at edge because once they see that our offense is capable of doing so many things. They're not just good running backs because that number 22, I forgot his name right now, but he runs the ball really hard, man. He reminds me
Pringle.
so much of Edrin James, but he runs the ball hard. And that number 6, they just really got a good balanced team, DC, and I loved it because it showed how collectively they should be undefeated. I mean, I just feel like they should be undefeated. The 2 games they lost, they shouldn't have lost. So that was my cap on the game. I really enjoyed that win. Yep.
So how about you, Tony? What was your biggest takeaway from this game today?
The play selection. I thought it was
Yep.
excellent.
I thought so
Hmm.
too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah. And the defense was, they just seemed so fast.
Opportunistic,
I
right?
mean, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that pick six was beautiful. And as soon as Isaiah said, he picked it, and he was full speed right there.
Yes.
and and as I see him going down the sideline, I said, "This is a pick six,
Hmm.
no doubt about it." And
Everybody
sure
catching
enough,
them. No.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they
yeah.
just had
And
that
then the
one
He
quarterback.
interception,
got two. He got two. He
yeah,
He
that
ended
got
up
one
two
in the
getting two
middle,
interceptions.
interceptions today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
right? And that was all in the first quarter.
Yep.
That was an
See, DC, that's good. That's what they need to do. You hit them in the mouth early. That's what the Canes used to do. Punch them in the
Right.
mouth early. Don't be fighting in the third quarter,
Yeah.
man. Get rid of these guys
Yeah.
early. And I loved it because DC, they let a lot of folks play who never got on the field this year
That's
because
right.
of that huge margin. When they start to blow them out, they start playing a lot of folks that never played. And that they had a new quarterback, the backup quarterback in there, and that's what they need to get these guys groomed and ready for next year because Beck is not
Yeah.
going to be here. So let that new quarterback step up and get him some experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. My biggest takeaway was watching that pick six. But the defense was just so aggressive and opportunistic, especially in the trenches. I like when a
Hmm.
team controls the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. The offense is controlling the line of
Yeah.
scrimmage, and the defense is controlling the line of scrimmage. And it looks like they had that balance today that they needed to get this game handled in the way that they got it handled. Because one thing is for sure, Reuben Bain Jr. and Messidor, these guys are top 10 picks in the NFL draft as far as I'm concerned. And Reuben Bain Jr., I could see him, I said, he gets better and better each game. And you got to attribute a lot of that to coaching. I'll give a lot of credit to Jason Taylor for being able to bring these young men along and these kids and being able to teach them techniques and things that they need to do against an opponent to get the edge, to gain that edge over an opponent, you know? And it's just so critical that they continue playing like this, because if they can get these last two games, there's a very minuscule possibility they might have a shot. Now, there's still 4 teams up at the top of the ACC that's only got 1 loss in the conference. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. However, 2 of those teams, or I believe 3 of those teams, are going to have to play each other. So it'll start, unraveling itself in a way that it'll make better sense to everybody in about 2 weeks. And we'll see what the final results are going to be. Carson Beck played well today. I thought he played well today. This kid's name is Pringle. Gerard Pringle, who plays running back. And they were talking about Mark Fletcher. They are talking about alternating him and Mark Fletcher together. I mean, having Fletcher is kind of the 1 yard, 2 yard bruising type of back that can gain you those extra yards. But this kid Pringle can play, and he's super talented. He's got great vision, because all great running backs have great vision. I mean, they could see in a hole, or they can kind of have an idea which direction to shift to run versus on their blocks based on their blocking schemes of the offensive line. And I was just so impressed to see him. And Malachi Tony, of course. He's a superstar. And Miami just better get ready to start kind of, enjoying him for the next 2 years at least, because I think they have 2 years. He'll be a sophomore next year. So they got 2 years to go ahead and try to make it to a national championship with him, because the offers are going to come from the NFL for him and CJ Daniels. I think both of them are equally as talented, but Tony has just got this element to him and this dynamic. It's just sensational to me. And final takeaway
smart
is
player too, DC.
Very smart player.
Very smart
Absolutely.
player,
And finally, the Miami coaching today was impressive to me. I mean, I thought Shannon Dawson, like, Freebird Tony was saying, he called a great game today. All of the play calling selection that happened. They were able to keep North Carolina State's defense just off balance. They couldn't figure out what was coming at them, And Dave Doran, the coach over on the NC State side, he couldn't figure it out either. I mean, he looked baffled. I mean, he looked like he was just disappointed. The quarterback for NC State, he just telegraphed too many plays. CJ Bailey, he was out of Chaminade, Madonna. He's a South Floridian, so he's got a bright future in front of him once he learns that you can't stare a receiver down when you're thinking about throwing to him.
DC, he had to hurry.
He was hurrying it up because of Bain and Mesidor and that pass rush and all those other Canes that was coming in there. They were like a bunch of wild dogs. They were like a pack of wild dogs coming up in there.
Whenever a defense put that much pressure on you, you have a tendency of looking at the player who you're going to throw the ball to. And the reason being is he's trying to hurry up and wait and see when he come open, because otherwise he's going to get clocked in the backfield, because the defense was like crashing a party back there. He had to watch and see when that receiver breaks so he could hurry up and get rid of the ball. Otherwise, he was going to tuck the ball and run for his life, and he did that quite a few times to try to run for his life. So I know he was in here trying to impress his home team because he's from here. But really, the Canes had the game plan was really set up perfectly for them. And they really didn't adjust to it throughout the whole game. They never adjusted to what the Canes were doing.
And NC State looked very impressive last week. So I was under the assumption that they were gonna be a formidable opponent, but it didn't happen that way. We're happy
I
it
think
didn't
they
happen
thought
that
so
way,
too.
you
They
know,
thought so too.
and I think they thought so too. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and get some predictions from you guys, and I'm gonna start with Tony first. Looks like Miami has Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh left. You think they can get through these last two games, Tony?
I believe so. Yeah, I really do.
Okay. I know for
Really
sure the
do.
Virginia
Yeah.
Tech. I don't know if Virginia Tech is going to play them hard, of course. They're at both the Virginia Tech
Yeah.
and Pittsburgh, so they'll be on the road.
Right.
But I just think that Miami is on that roll now, that they're going to get these last two games handled like they supposed to do, because they're going to be in the running possibly at least to try to get into that rotation to play for the ACC championship. However, if they do not, they still will have an opportunity to go to a pretty good bowl, I would say.
Okay.
So anyway, let's kick it down and go to a few other games. It looks like Texas is losing to Georgia. Georgia's jumped out in front of Texas right now. Texas is pretty much done in the SEC. They're not going to be playing for any national championship that I'm aware of. Are you guys aware of one that they're going to be involved in that 12-team rotation this year?
No. If they drop a game, they're done.
They're done.
Whoever lose from here on out, they're out of it, man.
They're
I
out
don't
of
care
it.
how far you are.
Yeah.
If you lose a game right now, you out of it. And that's even if you only lost one. If you lose a game this late, you pretty much out of it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And you know what is good about college football that I love? It's a game that it takes care. These teams all start out, at least the most dominant teams start out really kind of off really fast. And a lot of them are still undefeated. We still have a few undefeated teams up at the top. You got Ohio State, you got your Indianas, and you got several other teams. This falls right up under them. But
A&M,
Texas A&M. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up today, Tony, because South Carolina was up 30 points on Texas A&M. It has to be by far the largest meltdown I've ever seen in college football. And you know what? I would compare it to that Miami Boston College game when Doug Flutie threw that Hail Mary. I mean, I have to bring that up, and I hate that.
It was something of that magnitude.
It was something of that magnitude.
Very, very great.
How do you go second half and allow Texas A&M to score 26 unanswered points? I'm just baffled. Where is the coaching? I mean, where was the strategy? Where were the adjustments that South Carolina needed to maintain this lead and protect this lead? Because you don't want to be overly protective, but if you get a lead like that, you want to just be consistent and keep going and keep trying to score on the team to break their will. Wouldn't you say that, Tony?
Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what? This isn't the team I saw in the first half.
And they lost by 1 point. South Carolina lost by 1 point.
Yeah.
And
they were down 30-3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And scored 28 points in the second half, I believe. I think that's how it played out.
So my question to both of you gentlemen is, will Shane Beamer be able to get this team back to where it needs to be? And listen, this is no slight on Shane Beamer. His father is legendary coach Frank Beamer. I like Shane Beamer, but a lot of South Carolina faithful and some of the fans today is calling for his hide, man. They want, because to have a meltdown like this and you go home with a loss after you've been up 30 points on a team, there's no rhyme or reason why Texas A&M should have won this game, period.
Well, the thing is with that, DC, if he had a great season already, he can probably sustain his job. But for him to already have a crippled season and have a good team like A&M on the ropes like that, where you had them down, and like Dennis Saracen say, they are who we thought they were, and let them guys come back. It's a sign of a good team for A&M to do that, But there's no way. That means so many things went wrong in this game, Tony and TC, because first off, where is your time management? Where is just
Absolutely.
trying to burn out the clock? All of this stuff come into play. How in the world you let them drive up and down the field? Never call timeout when there is a sustained drive when you say, we got to stop this guys here. We got to call timeout, settle down,
Right.
let's stop them and make them punt the ball. It was none of that. So you let these people drive up and down the field and score. And they scored in every aspect of the
They
game.
scored in
When I looked
every
at them,
aspect of the
I could
game.
not believe it. I see how in the world they let these guys throw a hitch pass here, a running back turn the corner and take off down the sideline. All of these plays, it just seemed like you was in freaking practice before the season start. You know when you doing a scrimmage against a team, that's
Right.
what it looks like. So I don't think Beamer could. I don't think he's going to keep his job because of this.
Well,
It's just too much.
it's going to be very difficult, I think, because they're not doing well at all in the conference on the SEC East at all. I mean, they have that talent. I mean, they have some talented athletes on that South Carolina squad, but it's just all the dots are not seeming to line up. Now, I
Well,
have
the dots meaning the coach is not lining up. DC. When you start talking about talent and you losing, whose fault is it? They looking at the head man. They looking at the head coach. Whenever you got talent, you just mentioned that now. And obviously, they do have talent because they would have jumped out in front like that and led that game by those enormous points and let them come back. That's where
exactly.
the breakdown was in coaching. Because
Well,
how in
you
the
got a
world
great
you
point
can't
there.
stop these folks? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have a viewer here, conservative Dinker. He says there is no rhyme or reason why A&M should have had the first half they did. I agree with that. I mean, A&M is one of the top teams in college football. They're undefeated. Their coach is getting ready to get one of the most lucrative deals in college football, which Mike Elko should get a deal like this because he's turned that program completely around and they're into they're going to be making some future championship runs on top of this year. He also says that South Carolina don't call timeouts on defense when you're up. Now, why are they calling timeouts on defense when you're up? That's a good question in itself. And he also followed up, how is it coaching when they got up big? I mean,
It's coaching.
well,
It's coaching. If you can't settle your troops down to stop a team that's driving up and down the field, you call a damn timeout. And if you don't call a timeout, you don't know what the hell you doing. That's what it is. If you see a team where you can't stop them, that's what the times out are for. They're not for when your player get injured. The referees can call a timeout when your player get injured. You call a timeout when you can't stop these guys to settle your guys down to get in order,
mm-hmm.
to understand what these guys are doing. You come on, call timeout. You come out there with a pad and draw up a play and say this is what they're doing, and then you try to stop these people. That's what the times out are for. That's why you get a certain amount of timeouts at the beginning of the half, and then the second half, you get another slew of timeouts.
Well, they give you three per quarter. I mean, three per half, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It looks like Texas A&M Marcel Reed, and to me, he's a Heisman candidate in my opinion. I mean, he's talented. He's got all of the intangibles to be a great quarterback at the college level. He had a record game today, if you ask me, and he was part of that comeback for them to score all of those points in the second half to get A&M back in it, and so that they can win this game. Wouldn't you say so?
Yes. I mean, it shows you why they have that great season because they were the ones that did not panic while they were losing dramatically. Because just think about something, and that's the reason why I really start looking at the Canes game as well. I said, you know what? The Canes got more talent. And this is the beginning of the first half. I said, we got more talent than these guys. And then look at their damn record. So they don't have a winning record as well. So that's what A&M looked at too. They say, these guys are not that talented. Look at their record. Your record tells you who you are. So all you have to do is continue to put pressure on these guys. Keep playing hard, and persevere. And guess what? It worked. It worked.
Yeah,
They
it did.
came back
It
and won
did.
that game.
It did.
Because a
Conser-
loser will find a way to lose.
well, they always seem to find a way to lose. So conservative Dinker
Yep.
says the coaches didn't get worse over halftime, which is true. And then he said the players got comfortable and didn't know how to finish. That's another truth that he just expressed, because if you don't know how to finish any kind of sport, whether it's boxing, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, you're going to fall behind or you're going to lose. It's just inevitable, in my opinion.
If you don't finish a game, DC, that's management of a head coach. If you can't manage your team, that's on the head coach, man. Family, you guys who chiming in, if you can't manage your team, that's on the head coach. That's why you be the first one to get fired. They're not going there and firing no position coach because the linebacker wasn't head hunting that night. They're gonna fire the head coach because he didn't manage the team. That's who's going first, and then the rest of them will soon follow. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like Reed, like I said, he had a record game today, and hats off to Texas A&M, because at the end of the day, they're still in the running to be one of the top teams to play for that national championship. Who knows? They might end up being in the national championship. One thing is for sure about Ohio State. They're going to have to play Michigan. And Michigan struggled today. They struggled today against Northwestern. But Sharon Moore, I believe he's going to be ready for Ohio State. So Ohio State, I would hope that, Ryan Day keep his players grounded, because at the end of the day, if he doesn't keep those players grounded and they play Michigan, and if Michigan wins this game against Ohio State is probably not going to advance as far. I'm not saying they'll be totally out of it, but Michigan will be in the driver's seat in the Big Ten in that championship,
Yeah.
And South Carolina, one thing is for sure, and I'll make the last comment from conservative Dinker. South Carolina is kind of used to losing. I mean, he says that agreed, your record tells you who they are. South Carolina is 3-7, so they're used to losing. You don't think these guys know that they have nothing to play for anymore, and they packed it in for the season. I mean, that could be possible. You just can't coach effort. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, DC, we spoke about this early in this segment where we were talking about collegiate football as opposed to NFL, the pros. I guarantee those kids did not give up. They just got their butt handed to them by a good team, and this team put together some drives, and they walked down the field, up and down the field, and they scored, and they won the game. And that's the best way you can put it when you're talking about a championship and a leadership of a coach. They keep these guys grounded. I always refer back to Nick Saban because Nick Saban had this enormous run at the University of Alabama and other places that he went, but Alabama in particular. I used to watch Nick Saban's interview and listen to him very closely. He very seldom let his players talk to the media that much because he didn't want any distraction. He never want those guys to feel like they were this high and mighty team because he didn't want them to get big headed. And that's how he got his guys to stay grounded. When you keep these guys grounded, they stay hungry, they stay competitive, and they do not let you off the hook when they have you down. But when you have a coach who's not doing their players like that, who let them talk, let them go out and do all this stuff that has nothing to do with football. Their head is not in the game. So they'll allow a team to put together sustained drives and go up and down the field and score on them. That's the reason why they lost. It has everything to do with coaching. Everything.
Well, that's the way the South Carolina faithful is thinking right now. I mean, one thing is Shane's father, Frank. He had Bud Foster for over 20 years, and Bud Foster was the number one defensive-minded defensive coordinators that I've seen in college football. Bud Foster was an intricate part of all of those championships and all of those wins that Virginia Tech enjoyed when Frank Beamer was there. I don't know if Shane has that. I don't know if he have a Bud Foster for defensive coordinator. I'm not sure because I don't know much about Carolina's team this year other than the fact that Mike Shula, they parted from Mike Shula as offensive coordinator. I do know they did that because he was offensive coordinator, and I guess they weren't, putting out enough output scoring-wise to keep him there, So anyway.
They fired him this year, DC?
Yeah. Mike Shula, I didn't even know he was on their staff, and they let him go,
Okay. That made my point. You just made my point. Because they've been trying to figure out where the problem lies. This is the head coach, but they fired the offensive coordinator. So that goes to show you they're getting ready to clip the man on top now because they're still not turning this thing around. It's the head coach, man. If the head coach supposed to be an organizer, you organize your offensive coordinator, you get your defensive coordinator, and you put all these great position coaches together to bring your squad in. And all of those guys collectively got to be your solid staff. And they are the ones that's going to keep your team motivated and enthused to be on the field throughout and play freaking 48 minutes rather. You got to play the entire game. Mm-hmm. You can't let up.
That's true.
And if you see people that's not giving your all, their 100% effort, you pull those guys out because I guarantee you the next man standing going to want to feel that game. They want to play. So you take them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. It's easy to see that. When you see a guy not running down the field full speed, you take his butt out.
That's true.
If you see a guy miss a tackle when he should have been sitting right in that hole, but no, he been on a play. That wasn't his job to catch the guy coming out of the backfield. That was another linebacker's job. You was out of place. You pull a guy out for doing stuff like that. These kids got to be held accountable by the head coach.
Yeah.
It's all coaching, guys.
Well,
that's what it's about.
If I was Beamer with all of these jobs that's opening up, especially at his father's school, he grew up around that program, I would think Beamer would be a good candidate for that Virginia Tech job, wouldn't you think?
Hell no, because if they see this game today, they don't want it over there. They seen that game today, they gonna say, no, we don't want you here, man.
We don't want you here for that, huh?
Is that the way you gonna coach? No, we don't need you, man. You're not gonna ride off your pop's coattail, man. If you doing this type of stuff, your daddy will be appalled to see a kind of game like that. I've never seen his father lose a game like that.
Not a meltdown like that. I've never seen his father lose a meltdown like that either.
Nope.
Yeah. So let's get to the main ingredient, man. We're getting ready to get into it, and we're getting ready to talk about Tony's top 10 Heisman running backs of all time. They are called GOATs. So let's kind of get into, because we talked about this last week, and I went ahead and said, look, I want Tony to make the list up. I think Tony would put together a list that makes sense because we all three can relate that we've seen all of these running backs play, at the level that we've seen them play at. I mean, even all the way to the top 10. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and read off the running back, and then I'm going to have Tony break down why he arrived at it and how he arrived at it, and then we'll have a discussion in between then. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
All righty. So let's name off this first one. And this first player is going to be, and I'm moving myself up to this list because I'm trying to do 3 or 4 things at once. I'm trying to chew gum and walk at the same time, which I'm doing. So let's get started with this first one. The number 1 is Barry Sanders in 1988. Oklahoma State. I mean, just dynamic running back. One of the best I've ever seen play the game. I mean, especially with his skill set, with the way he ran and the way he could stop on a dime and go, and he can change directions on a dime.
Yeah.
Tony, how did you arrive at Barry Sanders being number 1?
Well, I remember him playing that season, and just how he just blew me away. Just performance after performance. Let's start off with an 11-game regular season where
Okay.
he rushed for 2,628 yards. That is sick, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
37 rushing touchdowns and 2 special teams touchdowns. 5 consecutive 200-yard games and 3
That's
games
crazy.
with at least 300 yards.
That is crazy.
And
That's crazy.
yeah, and in the Holiday Bowl, I remember watching that game
I
too.
watched the Holiday Bowl as well
They-
with him in that game. Yeah.
yeah, they blew away Wyoming that game. I think they scored like over 60 points. But anyway, he rushed for 222 yards and 5 touchdowns. He averaged 239 yards per game. That is just mind blowing, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it was just like a no brainer. Barry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, you're looking at his numbers. He had 2,628 rushing yards, 37 TDs, averaging nearly 239 yards per game. Now, let me repeat that. He averaged 239 yards on the ground per game.
Man.
Isn't that amazing that a
Yeah.
running back can do that game after game
That
after
body of
game?
work.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma State was in the Big 8
Incredible.
back then. That was it's not the Big 12 like it is
Right.
now. It was the Big 8. So they were going up against Texas and teams like that back in the Big 8, and Nebraska
Yes.
and all of those type of teams, because Nebraska and Oklahoma, all of those were Big 8 teams back
Right.
then.
Yeah.
You know, those
Yeah.
Texas teams, all of them, A&M, and you know, because if you look at the SEC now, they just added on Texas and Texas A&M, you know, and I can't think of the other team right now that's a part of the SEC that came from the Big 8, or should I say the Big 12. But that's just phenomenal that he was able to do that. And then he went on to the NFL and he lit it up in the NFL even more so, right? When he got to
Yeah.
Detroit.
Oh yeah.
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 I watched
On a
Wilson
side
try to
note-
tackle him and blow his knee out, man. It's just crazy the way he could stop on a dime, and the way he ran with his eyes, man. Holes that he ran through that looked like it wasn't a hole. Then he would see a linebacker coming to clock him. He would just turn his body a certain kind of wiggle way and didn't even get hit.
Or he'd
Yeah.
completely spin around, right? He just do
Yeah,
a 360 spin,
Yeah.
and guys would just be flying past him. It's like, you know, it was like the Keystone Cops of some of these games. You would see these players setting up to try to get a really good shot on him, and they just couldn't do it because he would stop on a dime and go, or he would just spin and go,
Yeah.
or he would juke and go. I never seen him get solidly tackled by anyone in the NFL when I was watching. You know, even at Oklahoma State as well. You know. So here's another one. Let's look at this second one that we have here, and that is Marcus Allen, 1981, Southern California. Tony, what stuck out to you about Marcus Allen?
Over 2,300 yards rushing.
Impressive, absolutely.
Five consecutive 200-yard games. 8 in total. He was so special, so elusive and smooth.
Yeah.
And he was just something special, and in the NFL as well. Yeah, Marcus was
special.
Dude,
he was elusive.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the type of back that he ran a little bit different than Barry Sanders in style, but he still had many dynamics to the way he would touch the football.
From Barry.
Yeah.
His style was totally different than Barry's, man. Barry, the way Barry ran, and getting back to him, Barry ran like he played snatch rag or flag football because he didn't want you to touch him.
That's a
he
good
didn't
point.
want you to put your hands on him.
That's a very good point.
He didn't want you to touch him. He want to run the ball and get his yards, and he don't want you to touch him because he'll juke the hell out of you. And with Marcus was a fast running back, but would change directions fast. If he was running a sweep and that thing got clogged up, he's going to totally change direction and break down the other sideline and be gone. And I've seen him do that time and time and time again. Yep.
And a great receiver out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was a good quarterback too. I've seen him throw quite a few touchdowns.
Yeah, he's from the San Diego area, and I believe he did play quarterback in high school. I want to say.
Yeah. He is from the San Diego area. Yeah.
Because Damon Allen was his brother. He had a brother named Damon Allen, and Damon Allen, if I'm not mistaken, also played quarterback at UNLV. I'll have to spot check that as well. Follow up with that. Okay. But definitely. So let's move on to number 3, and let's talk a little bit about Bo Jackson. Bo knows, but Bo Diddley say he didn't know because Bo Diddley says, Bo, you don't know Diddley. How did you arrive at Bo Jackson, Tony?
To me, hands down, the greatest overall athlete I have ever seen. Baseball, football,
track.
He really, and track and field. Yes, I mean he really brought it. He went 100%, and he's just so. Aside from being so talented, he's just so focused and determined to succeed. And boy, was he was special too, man. I mean, Bo, come on, man. Bo Jackson. Yeah,
and he had an NFL career that was cut short due to hip injury.
I know. I remember,
and that was a sad
game
state.
Against the Bengals. Yeah,
I saw that play myself against the Bengals, and that ended his career.
And yes, it was like a shoestring tackle almost that brought him down, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he couldn't play baseball. He couldn't do anything after that. I mean, he just had to retire and become a regular civilian, actually. So
remember when he played for the Kansas City Royals?
Yes.
Yeah. I used to watch him break those baseball bats.
Yeah, remember over his head?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him walk up a wall, an outfield wall. I saw him jump completely.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, he walked the outfield wall, and I'll give you an analogy of a comparison. Yeah. We used to go to the Dade County Youth Fair back in the day when I lived in Miami. Right. Isaiah and his family and my family went, and they used to have this guy who used to ride this motorcycle around in a circle. In a little circle, he would ride a motorcycle around in a circle. That reminds me of how
Yeah.
Bo ran up that wall and grabbed that ball out of the sky.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah,
does.
that was really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's move on to number 4, and let's talk a little bit about Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams, 1998
Yep.
class, University of Texas, UT. How did you
Yeah.
arrive at Ricky Williams being number 4?
Rick, over 2,300 yards in the season.
Okay.
And he and his running style. I always loved his running style. I was glad when the Dolphins picked him up. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Wish he could have stayed longer, but love Ricky. Always have. Always love Ricky, and that and I select these players a lot because how much they've impressed me throughout the years, and
Yeah.
not so much the statistics, but still
Yeah.
2,300
That's where I
yards.
look at it too,
That was
Tony. I look at it just the way you just
Yeah.
mentioned it. You know, one thing I thought was kind of off base with Ricky, even though Ricky was enormously talented, is the fact that they interviewed him one day and they asked him about who was his idol. And then you thinking that he's going to say Sweetness or he's going to say Earl Campbell because he went to Texas as well. Guess who his idol was, guys?
Who?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley, I want a ganja, bro. Ricky said Bob Marley was his idol. He want to blow out a Bob Marley spliff, man. Yes.
He's
Yeah,
got quite a
Ricky
business
was
now, though, selling cannabis.
he's in the cannabis
Yes.
business.
He has
Yes.
quite.
Yes, that's what
Yes,
he
he
enjoys.
is. Yes, and doing quite well. I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky, I'm saddened that he walked away, but I think he walked away for his own good in terms of his self-preservation. I went to a game on a Sunday night when Miami played the Buffalo Bills in Hard Rock at the time. And Ricky, it was just, they gave the ball to Ricky every freaking down. I mean, they very rarely threw it.
That was Dave Wannstedt.
And it was Dave Wannstedt.
Yeah.
And it was Ricky Williams right, Ricky Williams left.
Banging with Ricky.
Just banging with Ricky. And I mean,
you
you take a brutal punishment as a running back when you're being run that many times. I mean, they just don't last. Even though Ricky was in tip-top condition and tip-top shape.
Abusive, man. That's abusive. You run a guy that many times. Yeah.
So let's go to number 5 and let's talk a little bit about, if I can get my screen up here, Tony Dorsett, 1976, University of Pittsburgh. How did you come up with Tony Dorsett?
Yeah, I remember that season. He dominated that season. 2,100 yards. I think it was 2,150. And the national title in the Sugar Bowl.
Right. I remember that.
He was just so impressive. Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is? His senior year, Heisman year at Pitt in 76, the 76 season, they win the national title in the Sugar Bowl. His rookie season with the Cowboys, they won the Super Bowl at the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, against the Denver Broncos, right?
Yeah.
They won against Denver.
Against the Broncos,
Yeah, I remember that.
That's a high that you don't want to get off of.
You can't
win a national championship and then turn around and win the Super Bowl. That's crazy.
In the same,
right?
Stadium.
Right behind each other.
Right behind each other.
Yeah.
How blessed could he be, right?
And speaking of the Cowboys now, with his time with the Cowboys, I'll remember that. I'll always remember that was a Monday night game. I was stayed up late, and he runs 99 yards against the
Minnesota.
Vikings, I think it was.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
He ran out of gas, and when he was on his final leg to try to get to the end zone, I think he got a little bit gassed running that far.
Yeah.
But when he made that break and was out in the open, you knew he was going to do it. But like you said, he almost ran out of gas, but he made it. He made it. Yeah.
I remember one play that they show on highlights where he was running down the field with half of his freaking shoulder out. His shoulder pads was out.
Mm-hmm.
He was trucking down the sideline.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say when they were playing the Washington Redskins back then, they were called the Washington Commanders now. I think Darryl Green tracked him down one time too.
Oh, Green caught him.
Yeah, Darryl Green went and got him. Yeah, I remember that.
Green went and got him though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he was the player selected after Dan Marino, the 28th overall pick in '83.
I remember that
Marino
draft
was the 27th overall pick. Yeah.
You got a great memory, Tony. You are awesomely. Your memory is just spot on top of things, man.
Like I tell my friends, it's all useless trivia.
So let's move on to number 6. Earl Campbell, 1977, one of the most bruising backs I've ever seen run. For him to be as short as he was, but he was just. His legs were like 2 tree trunks when he ran. And how did you find Earl Campbell at number 6?
Yeah, I was actually debating between 5 and 6, but then I had to give it to Tony. Love Earl, always loved Earl. Love his brutal running style, that reckless abandon, just doing whatever he had to do, run over whoever he had to run over. And
he had a field day.
I remember when he used to hold.
You remember that Monday night game against the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Bum Phillips kept pitching it to him. They pitched it to him the whole game, and he wore the Dolphins defense down.
Chest, man. He wasn't doing the Henry stiff arm stuff. He was running.
No, he was running directly over people. Yeah,
he would run right into you, man.
Yeah.
He was like a ram. You ever see a ram stick his head down and defend himself? He would ram his head right into you.
Great description there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he ran over Los Angeles Rams at the time. I want to say his name is Isaiah Robertson.
I'm trying to remember.
Robinson, I believe.
I think you're right.
He dropped his head and bust you right in the chest.
Yeah. And he just ran. He blew him back a few yards and knocked him on his can. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he stumbled and twisted, and then he fell right in the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of the highlights of his NFL career at the time.
That shows you how powerful Earl Campbell was to be able to take that hit like that and lose your balance and just spring yourself forward about 4 or 5 yards into the end zone. Because he couldn't take another step because he was off balance. But he just sprung himself forward to dive into the end zone. Mm-hmm. And that's got a lot of highlight reels, too, by the way.
And he was equally as deadly when he was at Texas as well. I didn't see him play at Texas, but he was a human wrecking ball when he was at Texas as well.
They would just hide the ball and pitch it to him and just let him go.
That's
all he did.
Yeah. And if you're defense, you're just trying to angle it where you can get to his legs to try to get him on the ground around his ankles. If you didn't want to get a concussion trying to tackle him up high, that's what would have happened.
You would have got one, man.
You would have took one.
I would tell you one thing though: the Pittsburgh Steelers wore him out, man. That steel curtain, they used to just clog those holes.
Oh, Jack Lambert was all over him too, man.
Jack Lambert and Mean Joe Green and those guys, man, they was keying on him, man. It made me feel sorry to see him get hit like that converged on him because they knew who was getting the ball. They just waiting for
Right.
Terry Bradshaw to hand it to him. It just, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it just Terry Bradshaw would get over there, they'll get the ball back for the defense,
Mm-hmm.
and then the defense would key on Earl Campbell, man. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this, and either one of you guys can answer this question about Earl Campbell. I know when Bum Phillips was the coach, O.A. Bum Phillips was the coach of the Houston Oilers
Mhm.
at the time. Do you think they ran Earl a lot like Dave Wannstedt was running Ricky? Was it some comparisons
Yeah.
there where they just gave it to him every
Yeah,
play, right?
Yeah,
I think
man.
so.
That's
Yeah.
all the offense had. Their offense
Yeah.
was not diverse. I mean, they didn't have no diverse offense. They just had a student body left, a student body right, banging with Ricky and banging with
Yeah.
Earl Campbell. That's all they had.
Well, they
Right.
had Dante Pastorini, Dan Pastorini, and they had
Yeah.
00 Ken Burrow back then, right? I mean, Ken Burrow was a decent receiver.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And Mel Renfro, I think.
And Mel
Well,
Renfro.
Earl Campbell was the one that set it all up, though.
True.
They had to set it up through
Yeah, of
Earl
course.
Campbell.
Right. Right. Right.
Absolutely. So let's move on to this next one. Let's talk about number 7, Reggie Bush. 2005,
Yeah.
Southern California, San Diego boy. He came out of San Diego as well.
Yep.
Tony,
Yep.
how did you get to Reggie Bush?
That season to me is unforgettable, except for that game against Texas. That was the Rose Bowl, I think, right? Where they
Yes.
lost national
Yes. They
title
lost to
to
Texas
Texas.
and Vince
Yeah.
Young. Vince Young had a record
But
day
that
on.
season,
Yeah.
yeah.
Vince took
I saw
that
every
game
USC
upon
game
his
that
own
year.
shoulders.
Yeah. I watched every USC game that season. And I was just so impressed. I remember telling my friends, I said, he looks a lot, his running style reminds me a lot of Gale Sayers. And I just thought he was just going to light it up in the NFL. He didn't quite do that, but his collegiate career was special. He really was very talented,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he would, he fit the bill for 7.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's move on to number 8, and his name is Mr. Billy Sims, running back from the University of
Right.
Oklahoma, wishbone running back with J.C. Watts and Thomas Lott pitching him the ball.
Yeah.
How did you get to Billy
Yep.
Sims?
I saw him in the Orange Bowl
Against Florida State, right?
in the late 70s.
We talk
I
about that
believe it
all
was
the
against
time,
Florida
Tony.
State. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We talk about that all the time. That's one of my most memorable games, man, as a kid. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I remember going also to the photo day where they had the players out there just taking pictures, and the public was invited to attend. And I was, I was a young kid. I was in high school. I was like all stoked out. I was like, "Oh, cool, man!
Right.
Look at this guy." Yeah. But Billy just had a certain style about him, and just the memories that I have of him um, as a player. And he actually won that Heisman his junior season, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and Charles White won it his senior season. When Billy Sims was a senior, Charles White at USC won the Heisman. But yeah, he won it as a junior, and he he just impressed me. Just a lot of memories of Billy Sims. I liked his running style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that offense that Oklahoma had back then with that wishbone style offense that
Mm.
they had was deadly, man.
Man, I'm gonna tell you,
It
Barry
was
Switzer
like,
had them guys clocking back then.
yes. I
It
mean,
was
you
so
had
smooth. It was so new.
smooth.
Nobody had. I mean, nobody knew how to just read it and stop it, man. Until
Yeah.
later on, it took them probably 10 years for them guys to masterfully stop the wishbone because it
Yeah.
was
And
a really superior way of running an offense where you always had this big brutal, a fullback. You dive through the hole, and this guy got to get hit before you pull it out. If you pull it out and then you go around and then the pitch it over, oh man, it used to be so smooth. J.C. Watts ran that thing like a genius,
He
man.
ran it down to a science.
Yep.
He did. He
Hmm.
did.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Thomas Lott did
Yeah.
too, because I can't leave Thomas Lott out.
And Thomas Lott did too,
Thomas
right?
Yeah.
Lott ran
Yeah.
it
Now,
down to a science as well.
what put an end to the wishbone, I think, was that defense of the '80s.
Oh man,
They figured out
they
the
shut it
Oh,
wishbone.
they
down.
stuffed that defense. I
I
mean, they stuffed
remember.
that offense.
Yep.
Was it Turner
And
Gill at
little by little,
Nebraska?
yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it was Jamal
Remember Turner
Holloway who
Gill?
played
You
for
saw the
Charles
wishbone fade
Thompson
away.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamal Holiday. Right.
And they just Miami's defense basically they just was not going to give them any lanes to run in, and no matter
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
he
And
would
you
put it into
definitely
a
have
dive.
you need a lane for that thing to run.
You do,
You
you
gotta
do.
have a lane for it to work.
Hmm. And I think Bernard
Yeah.
Tiger Clark, he had a record day that night against
Oh, remember
Oklahoma. You
that?
remember Tiger Clark? Because I
Yeah.
think the middle linebacker got hurt, and
Oh,
Bernard Clark ended
yes.
up subbing for
Yes.
this guy. I forgot which linebacker got hurt,
Yes.
but
Yes. I forget too. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's
I think it was. I think it was the linebacker was rumored to have been involved with steroids or something like that.
could have
Am I
been.
mistaken
That
here?
was that was Brian
Yeah.
Bosworth at Oklahoma, who was rumored to have
No,
steroids back
no,
in the
no.
day.
I'm talking about from Miami. Yeah, when Tiger Clark filled in for the injured,
Oh,
I forget his name now, but I thought he had some involvement with
steroids.
steroids,
Oh,
but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
He had a record game. I tell you, he was making tackles left and right because Oklahoma just couldn't get
Yes.
anything going on that Miami defense. They were getting so much penetration that night. There was no lanes
Yeah.
to run in, and the
Yeah.
penetration was just into Oklahoma's backfield. So if you can't block them and keep them
Yeah.
from out the backfield, you're gonna have problems, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. If you get penetration in there and you stopping the flow of that run on the wishbone. You can't allow penetration because the quarterback can't perform his magic.
Yeah, I think earlier you had mentioned
Right.
Isaiah Turner Gill, but Nebraska ran a very similar offense
It was
with
a
Mike
veer.
Rozier and all those
It was a
guys.
veer. It was
Yeah, it
a
was a
veer.
veer offense. That's true.
Hmm.
And Turner Gill ran it
The
better than
veer.
anybody I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Oh man, he was
Yeah.
super smooth, DC man. God Almighty, he was smooth with that thing.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next and let's talk a little bit about Herschel Walker, University of Georgia, 1982, helped them
Yeah.
win a national championship, but then again they went back and they lost one. So how did you arrive at
Right.
Herschel Walker
Right.
at number 9?
Yeah, I couldn't leave him out. I really could not leave him out. Like I said, you could place him really wherever you want. I just wanted him in that top 10. He had to be in that
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
Memories again, just watching
Herschel
him
was one of the
play
best I've ever
and,
seen,
the
man.
impact.
I mean,
Uh,
Tony, you talking
yeah,
about
right.
this guy had all of this enormous speed and he was big. It was like unheard of to see a guy that big run that fast, man. I mean, he didn't have that elusive type
Hmm.
run. He had like a stiff type run, but he was fast, man. If you freaking let him get in the open, you're not catching him. And then he ran track
Right.
at
Fast and
University of
strong.
Georgia.
Right.
Yep. You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
One thing I used to love about Herschel, and I read that stuff in Sports Illustrated, when I was, a kid, and I kind of idolized him. He used to do 500 push-ups a night before he went to bed. And DC and
That's right.
Tony,
I
what he
remember
would
that.
do
Yeah.
is he never used to lift weights because he said weights make him tight. So he did a lot of calisthenics and he did like aerobics and all this type of stuff, a lot of stretching. So he
Ballet,
did,
whatever you want to
yeah,
call it.
ballet, because he
Yeah.
almost looked like a twinkle toe doing it, man. But he would do these upside down um, push-ups. He would have his feet up toward the
Right.
ceiling, and he would do upside down push-ups, and then he did the diamond push-ups on the floor with your
Yeah.
hands, and that's how he said his chest was so big because of the diamond push-ups. But then when you do the ones with the
Yeah.
diamond and you bring your hands apart, it makes your triceps and bicep shows that definition of those. So they had different type of exercises in that Sports Illustrated. Had several pages of the exercises that Herschel Walker used to do
Mm-hmm.
when he was in college. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tony, I was
Amazing.
interested in finding out who did Bernard Clark, Tiger Clark, sub for. It was George Meyer Jr. He
Hmm.
failed a drug test before the national championship game, according to this.
That.
George
Right.
Meyer Jr. is
Right.
very known because his father, George Meyer Sr., used to play for the Miami Dolphins, I believe,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And George Meyer Jr. actually was working for the fire department because he was one of the first responders to arrive at Sean Taylor's residence when he was shot.
Mhm.
They had to
Yeah.
airlift him over to Miami Jackson
Oh.
Ryder Trauma Center. I
Yeah.
remember those times as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That took place on the Southwest coast, right? Naples or Fort Myers or something like that.
No, it happened in Miami. The fools who killed him lived over there.
They were from the Fort
Yeah.
Myers area. They drove
Right.
from
Oh,
Yeah.
it
Fort
happened in
Myers to
Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
see. I see. Okay.
They were going to
Okay.
rob his house and they didn't know
Yeah.
he was home. He was injured. So he wasn't away with the team. Otherwise, he would have been away with the team.
Right.
And he just happened to be
Right.
there and they came in his house and he got shot. And that was unfortunate. And his daughter plays volleyball at North Carolina right now. So.
Yes.
So let's finish out with this top 10 list and let's talk a little bit about number 10, O.J. Simpson, Orenthal James Simpson. How did you arrive at O.J.
Yeah.
Simpson?
I mean, you know, he was very talented, and watching him play again when he's at USC, I was still young. When he won the Heisman, I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I've watched a lot of film of him his
Yeah.
senior year, and yeah, he was very impressive. And then of course with Buffalo, I mean, he
Oh, yeah.
also
He lit it up when he got to Buffalo as
just
well.
his
Yeah.
running style, and yeah,
And he was
yeah,
super quick and he
and
was super fast too at that time during his time. He had a lot of cutback speed, I
yeah,
noticed,
yes,
and
yeah, yeah. He could change direction just on a dime, and and he was very fluid in his running style, and he had the long strides. I remember those very
Yeah.
long strides
Hmm.
when he ran. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So Isaiah, you
Beautiful little
mentioned
stuff.
you had a list, or you wanted to ask Tony some questions about his list, or so.
Well, I love his list, man. We got quite a few of the same folks on there. I don't have mine in order. I don't listen to any stats or none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My list just consists of I'll go
Okay.
over it, but I don't want to chime in on any of their accolades and how much yards they had on there because I'm gonna tell you right now, I missed the boat on some people if I did that because I'm just looking at the ones that I watched play and the ones who went to pro. Some of them didn't even pan out. Some of them got injured once they got to play professional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna give you my list. Now, DC, you know how I love this guy, man. Number one, but this is not as talented as they are. Number one was Ron Dane.
Okay.
Okay. Number two
Mm,
was Mike Rozier.
Okay. Mike
Number
Rozier. All
three
right.
okay.
was Herschel Walker.
All right.
And then Orenthal James Simpson was number four.
There you go.
And then Marcus Allen, Earl Campbell, Tony Dorsett, Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders at number 9, and number 10, Derrick Henry.
Very similar list to
Yeah,
me, though. I
Okay.
mean,
yeah,
both lists are
Yeah.
just as,
very close,
I
right?
mean, very, very close. Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, because a lot of the same names were mentioned on
Mhm.
your list. It was on Tony's list,
And
right?
I didn't even compare stats at all.
Correct.
I think
Okay.
the
Okay.
only ones that's not like Tony's is Mike Rozier and Ron Dane. And everybody else is the
Right.
same,
Oh,
not in order that he has his, but that's about the size of it. And that
Mm-hmm.
goes to show you
pretty
that
much.
we
Yeah.
think alike when it comes to the talent of these running backs. Yep.
Well, Tony
Wow.
knows football, and Tony knows his history about football, and that's what's most
Yeah,
impressive to
and
me.
he's got Bush on there, Reggie Bush. He's got Bush on there. I didn't have
Yeah.
Bush on mine. Bush didn't make my list.
Yeah. That's all
You
right.
know who I thought I messed up on? Did Emmitt Smith win the Heisman Trophy?
I'm not sure about that. Let
No.
me check. I
No.
don't think he did.
No,
Because,
he
No.
did not.
because he got
No,
injured.
he
I
did
think he
not.
got
No.
injured. I think he got knee
Yeah.
injuries, and he didn't. I don't
Yeah.
think he won
A
the
guy
national.
who I yeah, a guy who I almost put him on the list was Rogers, George Rogers.
You know, I
George,
was going to
I
ask you
almost
about
did
George
that too.
Rogers, Tony, because
Yes, I almost put him on there too.
Yeah.
And I
yeah,
also almost put Marcus Dupree on there, Tony. Remember Marcus Dupree
Okay,
from
sure.
Mississippi?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he had
Mm-hmm.
The Jerry Curl juice in there, and he was a big running
Yep.
back like Herschel
Yep.
Walker and Bo Jackson. Yeah,
Remember him well.
yeah, two great lists. Tony, your list is solid as a rock. I don't have any. I
Thank
mean,
you.
from 1 to 10, I'm lined right up with you with these players, and same with you, Isaiah. But I thought you
Yeah.
put together a solid list, and we appreciate you taking the time out because I know
Hey,
it took some thought. You had to put
sure.
extra thought, and
Yeah.
then you had to
yeah.
do your homework, which was the research to find out their yards and all of that other good stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
We enjoyed having you
Honored.
on.
Oh, we enjoyed
Very
having you
deeply
on, man.
honored.
I told you everything was going to be good
Yeah.
tonight because
Yeah.
you know your sports, you know your football, and I'm gonna get together with you. I'm gonna come down to Oceanside, so I'll be looking forward to that in the
All
next
right.
several months, and we'll go ahead and put something together and talk a little bit more about football in person.
So, so- sounds like a plan.
Right.
Absolutely,
All
absolutely.
right, gentlemen.
All
It's
righty,
been a
Right.
pleasure. And
absolutely.
again,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
God
We're glad to
bless.
have you aboard, and you take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. Take it easy.
Take care, Tony.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you. All right.
Right.
So Isaiah, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up, and we'll call it a night. And we had a really good show tonight. We talked a lot about some of the teams that were vying to be in the national championship. And one question I do have for you is Notre Dame won pretty in a dominant fashion today. Do you think they should be elevated up?
Well, quite a few teams lost, so we'll see how that thing kind of panned itself out because teams that lost this late, they're going to be out of it. So Notre Dame is continue to win, and now, of course, they shaped it up for Notre Dame. I mean, the people who put these things in place. They gave Notre Dame a really good piece of the pie for them to be in the position that they're in right now. And all they have
Hmm.
to do is continue to win. University of Miami, they put them so high, and then when they start bringing them down, they bring them to 15, still out of it. So it's going to take more folks for them to lose to get to that 12. So we'll
Right.
see. We'll see how this thing gonna pan out. But so long as Notre Dame continue to win, they'll be right in the midst of it. DC, yeah.
Yeah, I think I believe I overheard one of the announcers say today that they have an 80% chance to really run the table and get in there at least. I ain't gonna say run the table, but they have
Well,
an
if
eighty
they
percent
win out,
chance.
they'll be in there. DC, they're sitting at 10, right?
Right.
They in. I mean, if they continue to win, they're in. I mean, there's no question about it. It's a beautiful spot to be in because they're not 12. That means they're in. If they just continue to win.
Yeah, the AP top 25 comes out tomorrow, and we're interested in the top 12, of course. But Michigan is going to be right up there too, because I mean they're back in it since they won that game against Northwestern today.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, Michigan. I'm really impressed with them, man, because he took this job, and he had enough confidence in himself to fill that contract with all type of incentives, proving that
And
I
you're talking
can
about
pull this
Sharon
thing
Moore,
off.
right? The head coach.
Jerome Moore, yes, the head coach of Michigan. And he's doing it, man. He's actually doing a better job than Harbaugh. Harbaugh, first
I
couple of
agree.
years, didn't have the record that Shimon Moore has. So he's doing a magnificent job, and I'm proud of him, man,
I
because
am too.
he sat in there and seemed to not be impatient because he could have went somewhere else and got a head coaching job. He stayed right there till his opportunity presented itself, and boom, he's there, and he's doing a great job, and I'm proud of him. Really, so proud of him.
And you know
Yeah,
what else is really special about Sharon Moore? Those players love him, man. They love
they
playing for
love him.
him.
Yeah,
I mean, just
yeah.
like they did Harbaugh, because when Harbaugh was there,
Hmm.
you could tell the players really loved playing for Harbaugh. They really felt comfortable, like they were in a family when Harbaugh was there. But like when I watched Sharon Moore today, and he gave that press conference, that interview after the game, some of
Hmm.
the things he said, and he told, and one of his players, Bryce Underwood, which is a superstar in the making, which is that freshman quarterback that Michigan has. He was giving Bryce Underwood and all the rest of the players on that team all types of props, and he has done a fantastic job. I have to take back what I said because I thought he should have followed Harbaugh, but no,
Yeah,
he did the right
yeah,
thing and he stayed. And I
yeah,
think he's going to be around that Michigan program for a long, long time
yeah.
because one
Hmm.
thing, he's got the right coaches on that staff. This
Yeah.
teaching these kids.
Yeah, and what I love about it too is the fact that they really respect him, DC. He's not sugarcoating things, man. I almost thought he was a phony when he was crying and all that stuff a couple years ago when Harbaugh was off. But then I look at it for what it really is. This guy know how to coach. He really know how
Yeah,
to coach, and then
right.
he's got the respect of the student body and the president and athletic director, and the players adore him, and that right there equals to having a successful organization when all of those things fit in line like that. So, man, more power to him. I just want to see him deep go in the playoff, man, and maybe he might fool around and win him a national championship. You never know.
You never know if they can get past Ohio State, which I think they have a
And he
decent.
know how to beat him.
And he know
He
how to
know
beat
how to
Ohio
beat him.
State. Ryan Day
Right.
is going to have to be on his A game in this game against Michigan because
Yeah.
Michigan is going to be ready for them. I got a feeling, and we're going to be sitting back waiting on that showdown because I can't wait to see it. I have a question here for you. It looks like there has been reporting that Rick George, who is the current athletic director at University of Colorado, is going to be stepping away. He's not going to move forward being the athletic director. I believe July of next year will be his last month. Is this kind of an ominous sign for Prime, would you say?
Man, that the seat is on fire. It's got those little things that you put, those little canister when you want to keep your rice and stuff hot. That's the Prime seat. He's got those little canteens on his rear end, man. Just listen, man. When new athletic directors come in, they usually bring in their own people, especially when you got a program that's not looking like it's going in the right direction. And the way things are happening in Colorado with with Shador and Shallow and Hunter leaving, Dion hadn't replaced those guys. His players don't have that same enthusiasm and the fight and the grit that they had, and the motivation, that these other his kids and Hunter had. They were game breakers, man.
Yes, they were. They were
Shador,
special.
they were, and they were game breakers on offense and defense. When they needed a touchdown, they somehow know how to get Shallow would do it, or Shador would pick off a ball or something like that, or he'll have a good classic hit where he pull the ball out of a guy's hand or something like that. But they were game breakers. He don't have anybody like that on there. I don't see those guys out there trying to force fumbles, and the quarterback is touchy, but he had a controversy with quarterbacks in the beginning of the season that I thought that shouldn't have happened, because you take these guys' confidence away when you swapping them out like that. If you
Mm-hmm.
put them in packages, okay, fine. This guy know he's not starting. Is the other guy starting? But so when this other guy get in there, he gonna show his rear end because he's getting the opportunity to play. But when you swap a guy out for the next one, and then all of a sudden you got to go put him back in, it does not the same. It really don't pan out to be the same. It's almost like you lose confidence because it's like, oh yeah, he didn't want me in here. Now this other guy is a piece of crap. Now you put me back in, and so that controversy with that quarterback was damaging to his team. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you can't get in the head of Rick George, because Rick George, he's one of my. I told you before, I really liked the guy. I thought the guy did a fantastic job at Colorado, and I thought he took a chance on Prime. He knew Prime had talent, and he brought Prime in.
Yeah.
Do you think Rick
hmm
George can foresee that this team is not going to get any better, and or it's just going to be just the same type of thing next year, maybe?
Yeah, I don't see it getting any better. I mean, he gonna have to really hit that portal hard, man, because instead of him getting better, he going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick George is looking like, wow, man, if this thing is like that next year, I'm going to get canned. So you walk away, you smell that sour milk before you drink it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. That's exactly what it is, man. I just see a team that's in total disarray, man, and I don't see it recovering because Prime had a lot of challenges this year, man. He's got several sickness things happening with his foot and the blood clogs and the whatever else he had with his bladder and all these different things that took him away from the game. So those summer months where they needed him to guide the team, he wasn't there. So you put a weak product on the field in August and September, and it shows. And this is why I think that he missed out. The team missed out on having that, and I don't think they're gonna be able to recover from it, man. I really don't, and I think maybe um, Sanders Prime should probably want to think about stepping away from it too, while he can, instead of the fans getting too annoyed with the losing and ask for his head to be taken off. Yeah.
I see. I see. Well, I mean, you summed it up eloquently, because if you think about it, well, there's been allegations that he demoted the offensive coordinator, Pat Shermer as well. So mean, he's going to have to make some tough choices, I think, next year. I'm talking about Prime. And, one of our viewers in the last show said that he needs to recruit high school again. He needs to go into these parents' living rooms and get these 5-star players. Now, the last player I remember him recruiting was Travis Hunter. He was able to go and get him to come to Jackson State.
Yeah.
You think he needs to go back into the high school as well as what he's done in the portal?
That's only if you're looking for long term, DC. He needs some quick wins. He needs guys who's already polished. He needs somebody to jump the portal. You're not going to get enough of the 5-star players to go out there and start kicking the rear end on a consistent basis. They just not that many hunters around. It's not. I mean, the hunters are spreading around the whole collegiate league. You know, you how many you need? You need 3 or 4 of them on each side of the ball. They're not coming to you like that. That means you got to hit the portal. And right now, with that losing, you're not getting a whole lot of 5-star players there, man.
Because they're not going to want to come there to play, players, right?
They're going to want to go to Alabama. They're going to want to go to Texas. They're going to want to go to the U, come to the U, and they're going to want to go to these teams that's winning. They're going to want to go to even Texas and Texas A&M. They're not going over there. They're not. You got to have some really good conversation with a parent to get you in Colorado right now, where it's ice cold down this time of the year, and you're getting your rear end kicked. You got to be almost a genius, a psychological genius to be able to get in the minds of these parents and these kids' head to pull you over there when you're losing. Because that swag, right, what he brought over there is kind of diminished a little bit because you don't have the players that's upholding that swag. Dion come out with the nice, classy shades on, with his hat on, the cowboy hat sometimes, walking with a little pimp walk and all that, and then start talking about God and all this type of stuff. That sounds beautiful as a father, but then when you hit that field and you start getting your behind mocked, they're not coming over there, DC. No way.
So you're basically saying the honeymoon is over in Boulder, right?
The honeymoon,
University of Colorado.
Fat lady with them, the fat lady with them freckles and moles in her face. She's singing. I hear.
Absolutely. So that pretty much wraps up the show for tonight. We had some really good topics that we talked about. We went over Tony's list. You had a good list, Isaiah. I thought your list is solid as a rock as well. You have anything to add to any of the topics that we talked about?
No, we just had a really good show. I loved it, man. Tony was a great guest on the show. And listen, man, I'm loving the folks that's, patronizing this show, and it's great. And I wanted to continue to grow. We're doing a good job, and
I think we are too.
Enjoying the entertainment.
Yeah, we'll get Najee back on Monday because we got a lot of things to talk about with basketball on Monday. I know Dallas, Nico Harrison, he was fired a couple of days ago. There's been kind of rumors that I've been, looking at different news outlets saying that, Jason Kidd is someone that might be on the chopping block, which they would be crazy to fire Jason Kidd, by the way. If they were even contemplating doing that, they would be insane to do that. And, we got a lot of basketball to talk about on Monday. We'll recap the sports weekend. It looks like Antonio Brown pleaded.
Don't forget, guys, the Dolphin comes on early in the morning, like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, because they're playing in Spain, right? They're playing in Spain. Yeah. So it looks like Antonio Brown pleaded not guilty, so we'll keep up with that. We're going to keep an eye on that case to see how that fares moving through the system. And we will call it a day. We thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button and keep coming back to see us because we love when you come back to see us. Like we said before, we're going to always bring you the best that we got, and the things that we talk about is going to be hit home subjects where we're about as raw as they come, and we're one of the best on the internet to do it. So anyway, take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your physical health, mental health, and get ready for the holidays because Thanksgiving is just right around the corner.
Sure
Get together
is.
with your family, love
Thanksgiving. This
and,
is
and
all about
care and
being
love
grateful
on
and
other
thankful.
people and just enjoy your life as best you can. We'll talk to you again soon. I'm Derek Stewart, along with my kinfolk Isaiah. Peace, love, and prosperity. Take it easy.
Take care, guys.